Bonsoir à tous. C'est un plaisir pour moi d'être ici. Je suis désolé, je ne parle pas bien français, so I'll switch to English now. Thank you. So I will talk about the developer experience with Nuxt DevTools. So I would like to do a quick survey of like how many of you are using Nuxt? Okay. And have you using Nuxt DevTools already? Okay, great, thank you. And so let me introduce myself a bit. My name is Anthony Fu, and I'm a core team member of Vue, Vite, and Nuxt. And also I'm creator of Vue use Slide Vitesse, UnoCSS, SlideDiv, and Elk. And I'm currently working at Nuxt Lab on the framework team. So let's talk a bit about the developer experience. So this is the topic that we have been like raising up in the tooling areas more and more often. It's like every framework are more caring about their developer experience. So on the Nuxt side, what do we mean about developer experience is like we're trying to provide a range of features that help you to better organize your code and make your work more efficient. So by that, we introduce a bunch of features like file-based routing. So you can create the file that's directly being the routing. So you don't need to duplicate or manually maintain a routing file. It's just basically the same file name which you link to every file. So, and then we have the great module system that you can install any third-party integrations as is. And we do hot module replacement that every change you do will instantly reflecting to your app. So you don't need to wait like 10 seconds, 30 seconds for your change to be updated to your app. Then you can have a very good feedback loop that you change to see, and if it breaks, you change again. So that would help you a lot. And also we have like Nuxt is also well known as the server-side rendering. You write one component and we will render it on the server side and client side automatically, and you don't need to worry about how you do the hydration part or something. So by that means that we introduced a lot of different features like Vite or ESM first, or TypeScript support, or components auto imports, or composable auto imports, or edge rendering, or hybrid rendering that you can choose for some like single page app for some routes and do server-side rendering for some routes. So that you can have the capability, you can have the flexibility of single page applications. Also, while if you care about some SEOs on your landing page, you can still do server-side renders on that side. So as I see that we have a lot of things to cover, and we bring up a lot of different features. So that's just a gist of what we had. So as you can see that in our documentations, we have to list all the things and to explain them. But sometimes it can lead to some problem. It's like, for us, the goal for us is like to introduce some conventions like file-based routing. So for you to like save you some duplication of code, or to save you some like manually doing things. And also we have the abstractions. So the abstraction, the part is like we kind of want to shifting the complexities from your app to our framework. So we take care of the heavy lifting part, and you only need to care about the logic you would like to do in your app, and all the things we're trying to handle in the framework and making it easy to use. And also we're trying to provide sensible defaults that up to standards. We're providing ESM, TypeScript, and also the best practice of how you do SEO or something. So this is something that we want to do, is like trying to make Nuxt as zero config as possible. So like with a minimal project, with a minimal starter, you can already get a very good experience on your side, on the developer experience, and also on the user experience of your side users. And we're trying to do some normalizations. So we introduced Nitron pack in order to normalize the different layers of your deployment host, like Vercel, Netlify, or Cloudflare. So each of them have slightly different, and talking about like serverless functions, they have different conventions. So Nitron is born to normalize those things. So you only need to write the code for Nuxt, and it will deploy to any platform you use, since it can like smartly know what the environment it is on. So it can generate the corresponding file for those different environments. So you can have a single code base and deploy to anywhere, and also like avoid the vendor locking. If you want to switch to another providers later, you can easily do that. And all these great things that comes with a trade-off, we call that as transparency. So as you can see that we have a lot of features to cover, and it can be hard to know what is going on, or to say that what the convention is, or in some case you know the convention well, but then you find some like edge cases that doesn't work as you expect, and then you need to find the documentation to read again to see if you miss anything. So that's one of part, like we are kind of lacking of the transparency. And also like for the abstraction part is like if we're shifting the complexity, and when the complexity is in your app, you take full control of it. So you can have you can change whatever you want. So every like fine-grained details. But now it's in the framework, and then it's a little bit like it's not obvious to you to see what is actually going on. So, and also sensible defaults, that we're trying to provide default, but default can also be confusing, is that that's something you expect to work, but then it's actually we have another default, something like that. So what the main transparency is like we want it to be easy to learn and understand, that like we wish that each functions or like each features we can describe in like one sentence. And if you heard about that, you know what we are talking about, we are on the same page, something. And also easy to modify it, that you kind of easy to customize, so you don't being locked by what we provide, but also like we're trying to improve your productivity, but not taking too much from you, and also like easy to debug. So that's the problem we had as a meta framework. Or basically, actually, this is the common problem of any tool you use, right? You have to learn the tool in order to use it more efficiently. So during learning, there's sometimes some misalignment. So our solution to kind of improve that, I don't think that we can totally solve that, but the thing we introduced to improve that is we made Nuxt DevTools. So the goal of Nuxt DevTools is to trying to enhance your developer experience with Nuxt, and trying to provide better transparency over the features, over the conventions we provided. And also we trying to providing you some tool to do some like performance analytic to help you to find the bottleneck of your app, and maybe also providing some suggestions to you to see how you can improve that. And we also wanted to be interactive and playful, and also like as you see that we have a lot of documentations. So the goal of us is is like we want to make it personalized. So as the DevTool, as Nuxt, the framework, it knows which feature you are using. So we would like to see if we can say that, okay, you are using this feature, and we're providing the documentation of these features right in the DevTool, and only the feature you use. So you don't need to like being lost in a bunch of documentations. So let me show you some demo of DevTool. Okay, and this is a Nuxt movie demo app we built with Nuxt 3. So this is like using a open API to grab from the movie database and to present the data. And this app has Nuxt DevTools installed, so you will see a little button underneath, and you click it, it will open up a tab. inside your app. So you can resize you can resize it, and you can toggle it anytime you want. So and I want to say that this is a bit like preview, even though we have announced it for a few months, but it's still very experimental. So we are still very actively trying to explore that what it can be useful and what can be improved better to see how people really need it, how we can present those data better. So as here you can see that it has a bit like basic overview of how many pages you have, how many components you have, and how many modules you installed, and also the version of Nuxt and Vue. So here is like it tells you that the Nuxt version is on the latest, but if it's not, you can click it to upgrade it inside DevTools directly. And so that means there's a lot of features on the side, so I will try to introduce them a little bit page by page. So the first is like the pages, which is the file-based routing. So it's also like sometimes when you have a list of files, it can hard to. Sometimes you will be lost as which page is rendering, or when you go to a page, you don't know that which page is actually rendering that, since you may have some like dynamic pages. So here you will have all the list of the routing you have, and you can click that. It will directly navigate the client for you. And also, like you can click on some dynamic one, and it will pop up a dialog to fill the parameters. So here that I can type TV. Okay, and then it will navigate you to the TV tab, and also like you can try to see that you can type something here, and it will let you know that if I type search, it will let you know that which routing is matched, and you type enter, it will go to that page. And if you want to change the pages, there is a button that you click it, it will navigate to your editors at the correct file. As you see, this is the search.vue file, and this gives you a basic overview of how many pages you have, and the name of it, and help you navigate. And also, like if you have a hidden page, like say debug, and that doesn't have any routing or have any links in your app, so usually you will type it in your browser, in your search bar, but then you can actually click it. It will know that you can navigate to that. And then we have components. So for us, it's like the components under the components directory will be auto import. So you can use it anywhere with our convention is like based on the file name. So if you have a component called auto query, and under the directory, it will become like this. So you can search for it. If you say that I want some like icon for Nuxt 3, you can search for it. It will be here, and you can also click it to the files again. And also, like outside of the user components, it will also have the components built in from Nuxt, and also the components from some libraries, from some modules you installed. You can see them, you can search for them, and you can know how many components you have been using. And also, like sometimes it can be a bit hard to see what is like the relationship between each component. So we offer you a graph, so you can go through it. So the blue square is the pages, and the green circle is each components. And of course you can filter that component to see this filter component is relying on these four different components, and you can filter them to play with them. And as your app going bigger, you will see more files here, and then it may help you to do some optimization to see maybe some components that you don't intend it to be imported or by something. And also here is that if you want to navigate, there's a button called inspect. So you can click it and go to your app. You can hover it. You can hover any components you want, and then you can click it. It will go to the exactly line of that component to see this is the button I have. So this way that you don't need to really familiar with the app that you are in, but like if you want to change this thing, you can always change. I want to change the word trader. I will click it, and then here is the word trader, and I can change it as I want. So then it helps you to locate the code that you used to need to understand the project very well and to search for it. It can take you 5 minutes or 10 minutes, right? And also then the components, the functions, in Vue we call that composables, or in React is hooks. And the composables from libraries is we have some functions like computed, ref, reactive from Vue, and they are automatically available to you. So you don't need to in the components you don't need to write import ref from Vue, since we are already in the context of Vue. And also you can click each thing. You can see how this file, these functions, how many files is referencing it. And the grayed out functions are the functions that you are not using, which in the production will be trade shaken. So you know that, okay, these functions are the things I've been using. And you can click it, it will show you some information, like how many files it's using. It's also providing docs that you can click it. It will go to that page to you. And also for the third-party libraries like Vue use, you can also do that. There's a documentation, short descriptions. Go to that. You can see the documentation to learn what is going on. And so that's the auto import part, the convention we provided, and we trying to make it. We're trying to show some internal information from Nuxt side to present to you and to make it more transparent, I think. And then it comes to module. In Nuxt we are very proud of our module system that you can basically install anything, and the module author will take care of the best practice to say that to make the integration working best for the Nuxt, both on the client side or the server side. And now recently we enrolled a new feature that you can install the new modules right inside the DevTool. You click it, it will list all the modules we had. And maybe that's install vtest, testing framework. And then it will pop up window. It will tell you that, okay, by clicking the install, it will running npm adding these modules in your command. And also we are changing your Nuxt config, adding this module entry. And if you click install, it will say that, okay, it's installing. And you can click it, it will showing the terminal, which is an embedded terminal inside the DevTool. And after it's installed, the server will start. Okay, and then you see vtest is being installed. So in the future, we will try to make it more better. I think maybe providing some scaffolding things, like providing your a basic empty testing configuration, something. So we are trying to improve that a bit by bit. So this is a very experimental feature that we just rolled out last week. And also you will have a cert. So the public data. The static files under your app, so you can browse it, you can filter it by app, and also like if you want to reference in it, here is like we're providing different presets for you to copy over. So this is important. It's like it's better for you to define the width and height for your image for better rendering, so you don't when the image is loaded, because that beforehand the browser doesn't know. So here is like it will automatically get the dimension of your image, and then you can copy it over. And then we have the runtime config here. We have the payload here, but in this app we are not using it. But this is the use state or use async data that make you to share some states across client side and server side with ease, that you don't need to fetch twice for a same payload on the server side and the client side. If the server is already fetched, we're shipping the data to the client side, so the client side can directly reuse it. And also there's then we have a feature that's build analytic. So this is also a new experimental feature that you can see that we can start a new build. It will run a new analytic build for your Nuxt app, and then you can see how much time it took, and okay, wait, okay, it's broken. Yeah. So you can see that you can see that how much bundle size you have for your client bundle, for Nitro bundle, and we allows you to build multiple analytic build on different branch or on different commits, and then you can compare to say that one pull request how that affect to your bundles, and also that you can see the more clearly that you can filter out to see, okay, which modules is actually contributing a large chunk of the payload, and also you have an inspect to see how each file being transferred step by step, how each plugins is transferring that, and then the next thing is we providing the open graph thing, so you can preview how your app being rendered on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. We're adding more, and you will have a gist of how many tags you are using, and they will provide some instruction to say which tag is missing. And if you want, we're also providing code snippet for you to copy it over to your app, and then you can fill the missing tags as is. And this is reactive. So to say if I go into another page, you will see that the data is actually changed based on the routing you have, and of course you can manually type in for that. And this is providing the interactive way for you to preview the open graph for your SEOs before your app is ever shipped. And then we have the plugins that listing all the plugins is injecting to your app, and each how many times they are consumed. And here you see that, okay, we have like 500 milliseconds plugins that I deliberately added as a slow, and then you can go to the file to see, okay, we actually waiting a timeout. So if your async is really your need, you can maybe make it non-blocking, and then you will save you like 500 milliseconds. So this is basically to help you to identify what the bottleneck of your app on the client side. And there we will also have a simple postman something. So in Nuxt, we allows you to define your server APIs just like file-based routing. So you can create -server-api.-hello.ts, and then you providing a function, and it will automatically becomes a serverless function, which will eventually deploy to your hosting platforms. And in a dev time, you can play with that, and you can again open to editors. You can change what you want, and then you can play it, and again you can copy the code you want. So we have a lot of features, and we also trying to make it more flexible or extendable. So ever you install some modules, the module can also optionally contributing to DevTool to providing their view to say that's how it can present its integration data. So here that's where I have a view use, which is very simple. It's just displaying the full documentation here. It's a simple one, and then we have Uno CSS, which is an alternative of Tailwind CSS. And under that, you can go to each file to see how each file is contributing to the CSS, atomic CSS generated. So this is the part that provided by Uno CSS, and with the Uno CSS module installed, you will have this tab to inspect to play with Uno CSS. And also the VTest module we just installed, it will show you how many test files you have. And if you want to run it, you can also run it in the Nuxt environment. So to testing your components, it will apply the exactly same transformations as your Nuxt app. So you don't need to configure another set of the pipeline in order to transform your components to simulate what Nuxt does. And also we have a VS Code integration. So we ship full-featured VS Code inside DevTool. So yeah, it's a full feature. So you have all the plugins. You can using Gist. You can sign into an account to sync with your configuration. And this way, this is particularly interesting is that it allows you to directly see the code or modify the code right inside your app. So remember the one that we have that for inspecting the file, right? So here that I click it and it opens up. When you're starting the VS Code tab, it will open up the VS Code inside the DevTool automatically without instead of jumping to your real editor. And now, as you see that if I want to change it, I can change it to say from text primary to text red and save. Wait, did I save? No, it's not working. Every time I do the demo, it's not very good. Yeah, you see it's become red. I think maybe this time it should give me some. Wait, what? No, I don't know. It's not very happy to me. Probably I need to figure it out. But the goal is you can change the code and you can close the DevTool to play with your app, and then you can bring it up again to have a closer workflow. I think it is particularly useful for me that I'm mostly working on my laptop without external display. So and that's the part. And we have a few things to cover about that. We have a performance table for client hook and server hook that's a bit internal of Nuxt, and also we have a virtual file that you can see that how Nuxt is generating some file to support our conventions, and inside here that you can see that this the virtual module that's living in the memory, it doesn't exist on the file system, but here that you can inspect them better. And I think this is mostly useful for us, the framework developers or the module developers that they want to contribute into their own virtual modules. And also we have the inspect that you can see how a view file, a simple view file, that's how it's being transpiled by different plugins step by step. And this is useful for when you are trying to create some plugins or trying to debug what is going on with your components. So that's probably the gist of the DevTool. The feature we would provide, we provide it currently, and we are actively trying to explore new ideas of different aspects that we can improve to help the developers' experience getting better. And yeah, and that's it. And it's open source at Nuxt DevTools, so you can check. We have a open milestone. We have a thread for collecting feedback and ideas. If you have any, you can go to the repo and to leave some comments to me. And yeah, so that's all for my talk. Thank you.
What a great tool. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
And so if there is some question to ask Anthony, I think we will be able to answer. Someone? Yes.
Yes. Does it fully replace the Vue DevTools extensions?
No, it's actually designed to be working together with the Vue DevTools. Since Vue DevTools is basically designed to be a runtime DevTool that it only has the information in the runtime, so it can display the graph of your components of your app, but it doesn't know what the components is actually from, and it doesn't know the state. So for the Nuxt DevTools, that's our goal is to integrating better with the information we had on the server side. So we're providing back to the client side, and we mixing with some data that we had from the client side in order to play together. So that's you see that is inside is an iframe inside the app. So in the short term, I think that they should be as a standalone tool for different scope. So for Nuxt DevTools, it will be mainly for the Nuxt part, and for the Vue DevTools, it can be using for the a bit like the runtime part without the information from Nuxt. Okay, another question? Oh.
No one? Okay.
So first, thank you for the presentation. So I'm sorry I don't use Nuxt, but I use Vite a lot, and I have a Vite app, and I was wondering, is there a subset of what you've shown which could be actually usable outside of Nuxt, but leverageable for all other projects, which are maybe Vite based?
Yeah, for us that currently we want to trying to explore that what Nuxt can do. Since you need to some level of explicitness in order to gain some information, right? So not every information can be universal. Since we can now achieve that is like we are in the context of Nuxt. So without Nuxt, there's a lot of things that you cannot know as a Vite app, right? And so for us, it's like we want to try to explore what the Nuxt DevTools can do. Before thinking about how it can be generalized. But we do have a community solution, which is a Vite plugin Vue DevTools, I think. Yes. Yeah, great.
I use that.
I use it, right?
On my current app. My current app is on 2v3 compression API. If I can use Vue with it, it's nice.
Yeah, and it is actually a port of Nuxt DevTools, so it has a very similar UIs and some design, but it's a kind of subset of Nuxt DevTools has. And if you're using Vite, maybe you should try it out. But as you see, this is also a Vue specific. So, but I would like to see more framework or more tools. They are starting to develop something like this, to explore some internal information to the developers to better understand the app. So probably later we can maybe collaborate together to see how we can build a infrastructure below it to make it more generally be used. Thank you.
Yes. Can we use Nuxt with another file structure?
Another what?
File structure, another file architecture?
Yes. Yes, it's configurable.
Okay.
So actually, I'm kind of lacking in a demo. It's like we're trying to provide some documentation. So here you have a question button. So once you click it, it will show you a bit like basic demo documentations, and also it will according to a config, we can know a few information for you to know it. And I think that's something documentation is something that we are always lacking. We can always be improved, and we want to do it better. So maybe we can later providing some like examples to say how you configure it, different structures, or like maybe domain-based something to using with Nuxt.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Sorry, especially for the ones who are remote. Are you planning to do something in the DevTool to, how to say, help mocking the network layer? Like, for example, for testing some edge cases?
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, we currently don't have it. I didn't thought about it. So maybe that's worth trying for. And I think that we have some capability on the code side. So Nitrom is definitely capable of doing that. But maybe we can build some UIs and make it easier to configure and maybe toggle it, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question about the API testing tool that you presented in DevTools. Does it work with other APIs that we can?
Yeah.
For example, my project uses the / API with another framework, another language, or some complexity.
Yeah.
Does it use the headers and cookies and all the things that the browser has, or it's just like, for example, if I authenticate with in the Nuxt app, does it replicate in the API testing tool?
Okay. Yeah. I think we didn't at this moment, but I think that's a good idea. That maybe we could try it. Since currently the request is sending from the DevTool, so it's in the DevTool frame. But maybe we can proxy it to make the request sending from the client side, and then that's DevTool to render it. Yeah.
Another one? No question in the stream? Okay. So thank you a lot,
Okay.
Anthony. So it's very a pleasure to get you here. And I hope discussion can be made around beer. So I have some things to share just before we going to the bretzel.
Okay. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.